Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? Guys, we have seen quite a bit of this show. We are getting towards the end of it. I mean, at least halfway. Episode 15 of Dororo is actually getting the animation seems to have dipped so much for some reason, which was like the strangest thing to me. Um, Usually, when you see a show doing so well and looking great as well, it usually starts to get upgrades. It usually starts to get um, more proficient at making its characters and making sure they know what they look like even when they're sitting down eating rice cakes. But with this week's episode, we get a very not so I don't want to say like hideous or something, but the way that the characters look for more than half the episode was just subpar for the lead. Like, man, they seem like they really just didn't care at all. They're like, well, maybe it'll fix itself. Like, no, or maybe the fandom loves the story so much they just won't care. it was it just felt really really tacky, the way that this kind of just came off, in my opinion. But that's just my first observation when I saw it. So if you definitely don't feel the same way, let me know why, or let me know if you've seen better or whatever, because this just looked rough to me. But overall, when we get episodes that have a little bit of our characters kind of questioning what they're doing, is always, I think, a little bit better than them kind of going off of a whim and just being like, oh, well, I could do whatever I want, what I want, because I'm doing the right thing, or I'm doing what's right for me. Because as you hear in this week's episode, he's very, very eager to get all of himself back. He wants to be full, he wants to be normal, as normal as he can be anyway. At least have his arms, his own legs, his own. And I was thinking, how is this man going to be able to use his weapons that he's been, training all this time to like be a master of his own fighting style with his arms as his weapons and stuff. And then as soon as I said that, he goes out into the water holding the katana in his hand instead of the way that he normally fights. I was like, well, I stand corrected. The one thing I didn't notice this week, I must have like turned away for like an instance and like checked my time on how long I needed to still watch the episode for, and missed something important because somehow this man ended up like losing his leg this week, and was he, instead of using his leg and walking normal, he had to use the sword as like a prosthetic leg. Um, Unless that was from a different week's episode, I don't remember him losing it, but nonetheless, he was completely beaten and battered after pretty much being in the waking up zone of where the butterflies were actually like where the butterflies were actually getting ready to bloom, if you will. They're getting out of their cocoons, and bada bing boom, they are a threatening force. Even our character got lifted in the air by one of the more, I think it was just like a baby one, like it hadn't even ate and stuff. Like it's his first time being out, and the first person it goes against is him. So it did pretty well. Dropped this man very high up in the air, almost busted his back. So I'm really surprised that they gave this demon so much like credibility of fighting as long as it did with him. So we are getting some overall like narratives that maybe people aren't really feeling so far, or don't necessarily care for. And I feel like that's kind of why the animation dipped. Like I feel like they must have thought people not weren't gonna care much for this arc, or care much for this overall sequence of things happening. So they just kind of went lackluster on it. Because out of every episode that they have them just relaxing and not like fighting and stuff, they still didn't look this weirdly like awkward in my opinion. But maybe I just wasn't looking, or maybe because the storytelling was at such a good place, I didn't notice it or something. But it seems like that hard of a graphics drop, that much of a dip, would have been pretty hard for me to not notice. And I'm really honest about when I see these types of things. I don't really see a point to hold back when me giving my truthful answer might give us better results than me straight up lying about it. I heard people complain about things, and then they get to see an upgrade in that same thing they complain about the next time around because they knew people wanted that upgrade. So that's just my take on it. Always speak your mind instead of allowing what you think should pass. So that's just my intake on it. But yeah, overall, this show is feeling like it's another one I should just put on my watch to myself list, because I just don't feel like anybody's really keeping up with it in the sense of talking and having it as something that people are actually like begging to hear about. So it's one of those things that when I'm watching it, I'm enjoying myself and I can full on get immersed in the world and stuff. But then when I bring it to the table to talk about it, everybody's just like, well, wait for your next video. you know, which I don't want to put, stuff on the channel that people don't really care to have slash make them want to, unsub just because it's on the channel. But at the same time, I want to do things that I enjoy, and I guess if you don't enjoy that, I apologize, and I'm sorry I can't be the channel that's for you. Because I definitely like to do things that I actually enjoy instead of doing things that I do just for others. So, with all that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be when you're watching this. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I dropped a video very early today, but I thought just to make sure to have two at least for today, I dropped this as well. Not to mention, um, there's not much actually coming out on Mondays anymore, so hopefully we get another show that kind of fills in the Monday gap. But if you guys really want and this video does well, or if you guys hit me up in the comments, I could probably get another video out. There's another show I can watch and probably drop, but it would be later. And then if I don't drop it now, I don't know when it's gonna drop. Maybe more like a Tuesday or Wednesday. So with that being said, if you want another upload from your boy, hit me up in the comments down below if you're even watching this. And if not, I guess we won't get another upload, right? So with that being said, peace.